Everyone, so winter is here and we are back again with another new video. In this video, we are going to make a full API, backend API using Node.js of a user authentication system where the user can create his account and user can log into his account. But in this feature or in this project, we are keeping a special feature in which only the users who has verified their email are allowed to log into the system. So this is the functionality which we are intending to achieve by the end of this video. So let me explain you the workflow. So at first the user will sign up and create his account, and that data will be stored in our database. Only after the user account is created, an email will be triggered to his email account with which he has registered to the system, and that specific email will have a link, and on hitting that link the user's email ID or account will get verified. It is only then, once the account is verified, the user can log into the system. Now if the user's email is not verified, then he cannot log into the system. This is the functionality which we are intending to achieve by the end of this video. Now, the email service which we are going to use for this video is going to be NodeMailer. However, I do understand that there are also other third-party services like Resend Email or other Trello or Flips like that packages which allows you to send email. But for the ease of this video, we are going to use NodeMailer. It is quite popular these days and it's used in production. So follow along with me. This is going to be a long video and I hope you will like it. So for the beginners who has not understood what I told just now, so for them I will just go to eraser.io and I will explain you few concepts of what we are trying to build by the end of this video. So if you can see, this is my screen. In this, we are intending to build a user login and sign up system. So before directly coming to the sign up and login, let us understand the data model which we are intending to build. So data model is actually the database schema which will be stored in the database, that is the data types and their attributes. Okay, so once the user is creating his account, he is creating with his name, his phone number, right? He has a password and obviously an email ID with which we are validating the user. And with this, you can also keep some other parameters like his username, like this. Now, one compulsory parameter which you need to have is verification status. Verification status. Okay. Now by default, when the account of the user is being created, this verification status is set to false, right? Because once the account is created, the email ID is not yet verified. Okay, so this is the data model which we intend to create. This is the data model. Okay, so let us understand about the routes, means the functionality of creating the user, verifying the user and logging in the user. So the first route which we will have is the sign up route. So what is the sign up route going to do? So sign up route. So what is the sign up route going to do? I'm writing down the algorithm. So first it creates the user account, and after creating the user account, it is sending verification link to email. So only this much is the working of the sign up route. So what is doing? Once the user is creating his account, it is storing the data supplied to the database and it is sending a verification link to the user's email. Fine. Now once the verification link is sent, there will be another route which is the verify user route, which will be hit once the user clicks the link which is provided in the email. So this will be the verification route. Okay, so what this route is doing? So this route is verifying verifying the user's account. So once the user's account is verified, it is only then the user can log in. So what is the login then doing? So login's algorithm will be like this. So login's algorithm is login route, and what the login route is doing, checking if the account created is verified. Be kind with me on spellings. I am just writing it for fun. Okay, so checking if the account is verified. If account is verified, then allow login, else not. Okay, so this is the bare minimum functionality which we are trying to achieve in this project. So what is the thing? What are the three things which we are trying to achieve? Let me make this a bit proper. Okay, and this should be good to go. Fine. So we are trying to create a user authentication system with email ID and password. So what is happening is, once the sign up route, in the sign up route, the user is creating his account by supplying his name, email, phone number, password and username. Once he's creating his account, a verification link is sent to his email. Now that verification link will hit the verification route. In that verification route, once that route is hit, that particular email ID of the user will be verified. Fine. Now, once the email ID is verified, then the user can log in. So for logging in, the route will first check whether the email ID already exists or not, whether that account with that email ID already exists or not. If it does not exist, then it will not log in, it will throw some sort of error, and if it exists, it will check if the account is verified or not. If the account is verified, well and good, allow the login. If the account is not verified, then it will either resend the credential or resend the verification link to the user's email, or if the account is not verified, it will say that yes, we cannot log in because your account is not verified, please verify your email first. So this is the bare minimum functionality which we try to achieve by the end of this video. Okay, so lots of discussion on this, so let's directly jump to our code editor and start coding. We will understand on the go, we will understand step by step. Okay, so this is my VS Code, and everything that I do over here will be available in my GitHub. I will provide the link in the description box below. Okay, fine. So this is my VS Code. Just a minute. Yep, this is my VS Code, and the first thing which we do is we open up the terminal inside the VS Code. Let's maximize this, and the first thing which we do is to npm init. So we will initialize a backend project. So it's asking us for the backend package name. So keep it as it is, version keep it as it is. Basic user login sign up login system. Okay, sign up login system. So this is the description of the project which we try to create. Entry point index.js test command, will not need it now. Git repository, not required up to now. Keywords, say backend development. Okay, author, yes, I will give my name. Okay, fine. So license we don't need. So it's saying that whether everything is okay or not. So simply press enter. Now once that is done, I have my package.json in my directory. Okay, now I need to do some folder structures. Okay, so I will need 3 folders. mkdir, make directory. One will be the controller folder, which will which will keep all the logic part of the backend. Controllers, controllers, yeah, controllers. Okay, next will be the models, which will keep the model of the user. Next will be the routes folder, which will keep all the routes, the sign up, the verification route, the login route. After that, we need anything? Okay, we don't need anything. The 3 folders are done. So as you can see, the 3 folders have been created. Apart from this, we need the index.js file, and also the the app.js file. Okay, so the app.js and index.js are made. So if you can see over here, the folders are already done, and we also have the files. Well enough. Now we will install few dependencies which are necessary for us to continue this thing. So the first extension or first dependency which we need is Express. We are going to write our backend API using Express.js. Express, then .env, which will store the credential of our email and password, and also the MongoDB URI. After that, we need nodemon. Okay, anything else we need for this case? Nodemon. Okay, I hope this is good to go for the time being. If we need, we will install along the way. So just press enter and let it install. Alright, now while it is installing, we will go to this place called package.json, and here we will do some changes. So inside the script, I will write the start script. So start script will be nodemon index.js. So it will, if we write npm start, the nodemon function will be activated. Fine. So let's see. Okay, so everything is done. It says package is done. So I need another thing, which is mongoose. Okay, so mongoose is an ORM which allows us to interact with the MongoDB in a much better way. So let us give some time. Okay, it has already installed. So we are closing this. Now the first thing which we are going to do, we are going to create the user model. So let us write it as user.model.js. Okay, so we know how to create model. So we will import mongoose from mongoose. Then okay, we need to do a change over here. Now inside this place, we have to write type equal to module.js, because we are not using common JS module, because it's deprecated. Common JS is not used in production. Okay, so import mongoose. Now define the user schema, const user schema schema equal to new mongoose.schema, and inside this we will write the schema. Okay, so what do you need in this place? So we have already seen that we need the user's name, his email ID, its phone number, his password, and stuff like that. So his name first. Okay, so name type is going to be string, and it is going to be required. Okay, next his username. Okay, type is going to be string, and it is going to be required, and also it has to be unique as well. Okay, now once that is done, we need his password. Password is going to be of string type, type string. Okay, and it is required obviously, and it's not needed to be unique or not. Fine. So next we need email. It is going to be of type string. It is going to be unique as well, and it is compulsorily going to be required. And next, the last thing, which is verification status, and this is going to be of Boolean type, whether it is verified or not. By default it is not verified, so we will keep as default as false. Fine, all the fields are made, I guess. Name, username, password, email. Okay, if you want, you can keep the phone number as well. Phone. Okay, type, you can keep it string, because some people try to put that plus, then the country code, followed by that the phone number. If you want, you can keep. If you don't want, you can just keep it to number. All right, so let me resolve the error. Okay, so our user schema is ready, and we will just export. Okay, export user default mongoose.model and then user schema. So this is the name of the collection in which the database will be storing that. So in database, if you remember in the backend course, I have mentioned that this user will be stored as users. This is a common convention that the MongoDB uses, that it will store the collection name in a plural form. Okay, so our user model is ready. We have the name parameter, his username, his password, his email ID, which is unique, his phone number, and his verification status, which is by default false. So if the verification status is false by default, we cannot allow the user to log in. So he has to verify his email. Okay, so we have the user's model ready. So let's directly go and write the controller. So user.controller.js. Okay, now inside this place, we will write the user controller. So the first controller which we are going to write is the create account, that is the sign up controller. Okay, so we have to import the user model. Okay, it's from user.model.js. Next, const sign up. Okay, now since the database, it is a database interaction, and since the database is located in other continent, as I always say, we need to use async and await. And since we are making a database connection, there is always a possibility of some error trying to happen, or error might happen in any case. So we will wrap everything inside the try and catch block. So these are the two things we have to remember while designing the controllers. So it will be async, okay, request response, then one arrow function, arrow function. Now everything inside the try and catch block. So if there is any error, so simply console.error, console.err, send the error or print the error on the terminal. And you can also send the error by sending internal server error in sign up, or you can just send a message that error cannot create a user account. If there is some error, this will be the error will be thrown, as well as the status code of 500 will be thrown, which is saying that there is some error in creating the user. Okay, now we have thrown the error. Now let's create the user first. So for creating the user, we need to get the attributes from the front end side. So we have to just write const and destructure everything. Okay, equal to request dot body, right? We obtain the name parameter from the body. We are keeping in mind that everything is submitted as a form. Okay, so what are the things we need from the front end side? The name, the username, the password, the email, the phone. So let's write one by one. Name, username. Let me see the casing. Okay, username, password, email, phone, and do we have anything else? No. We will not take the verification status this time, because by default the verification status is false when the user is creating his account. So once we have everything, so we'll write const user equal to await user model dot create, and we will supply everything that we have destructured and obtained from the above line. Okay, so once that is done, we can just console and print that log user creation is successful, and you can simply console log the user that you have created. Okay, now once this is done, once my user is created, I want a mail to be sent to the particular email ID for verification. Now for sending the email, I want to keep a separate function or separate function that will be called when we want to send a verification email. Okay, well enough. So let me write a to do over here, that we need to do something over here, send verification email. Okay, so for sending verification email, I said that we are using a service called the node mailer. So let us go to the NodeMailer service, and in the internet we will see what the NodeMailer service actually is. We will read the documentation. I understand that reading the documentation is a boring thing, but trust me, I will try to keep it very simple for you. So let's go to the internet and let's see and understand what the NodeMailer package is. So let's go to the NodeMailer documentation. So if you come and Google search NodeMailer, the first link which you get is from the nodemailer.com, and you have to open that. So it says that NodeMailer is a module for Node.js application that allows easy email sending. The project started in 2010 with few reliable options for sending email, and today it's the default solution for Node.js users. That means it's used in production. So how to install? It simply says that npm install NodeMailer. So let's go to VS Code and we will simply install it. So let's open up the terminal. Simply paste it. So it will install the NodeMailer package and its related dependencies. So it says that it's done. Okay, well enough. So let's go back to the documentation. Okay, so it says that it uses the email engine, a self-hosted email gateway for that. Okay, but that's not important. So these are the features of NodeMailer. What we want to come to is the usage. Okay, so it's saying that to set up you have to install NodeMailer, which we have already done. To send email we need to create a transporter object. So let transporter equal to NodeMailer create transport. So we are all going to do these things. Sending email, we have to use transporter.send email data and callback. Okay, very good. So let's come back here. So here you can see an example code is given. We are going to use this, and we are going to use this, and we are going to see how we can send email from the backend to the user who is creating the account. Now, the first thing, if you are using Gmail, you need to come to your Google account, and from here you have to obtain the app password, because the email ID password which you are giving, that's not sufficient, because Google has some additional layer of securities where it will not allow the backend services to send the email explicitly using the login password. So from here you have to just come to this place, Google account, my account, and you have to search for app password. Okay, so in this place we have to come up, create an app password. So it is asking me for the password, so let me give. So I have given my password. So in this place you have to app password. So you have to come up over here, give an app name, you have to create a password. Now since I already have a app password created, so I will not use or create another app password. I can use my previous app password for that purpose only. Okay, so that's all about the NodeMailer. And so we'll now come up to the place and we'll just write few code, and we can see how we can implement this mailing service from our backend to send email to the users. So let's go to VS Code and let's start coding. So what we will do is we have to create a transporter. We have to supply our email ID and the app password which we have created. Then we can create a transporter, and we can use that transporter function to call and send the email to the user. Okay, so we are in our VS Code. So let's turn this off. Okay, so the first thing which we have to do is we have to create a transporter, so as it was said by the NodeMailer. So for that, let's import NodeMailer first. So import NodeMailer autocomplete. Yeah. Okay, so const transporter. Come on. transport. Okay, const transporter equal to NodeMailer dot create transport, and inside this we have to supply some details. So what are the details we have to supply? First is the host name. If you read the documentation which we have just have a glanced, so the first was the host, followed by the port, the security, and then the authentication. Only these three stuffs. So let's write it quickly. First is the host. That is, what is the service which we are using to send the mail. So since we are using Gmail in this Gmail in this case, so we will use smtp.gmail.com. smtp means simple mail transfer protocol, so it's a transport layer protocol for sending email between two devices. There can be MIME, there can be POP. So these are various protocols which you will learn in computer networks for sending emails. So smtp is the one which is useful for sending email between two systems. So for Gmail it is smtp.gmail.com. okay, fine. Now we have to supply a port number. Now for Gmail the port number is your 465. okay, so this is hard coded, so I came up with I read out the documentation and I came to know that the port number which Gmail uses is 465. So secure, yes, we want it to be secured, so secure prop to true, and then the auth. So auth will consist of two things, the email ID, okay, and the password. So user will be the email ID and then the password. okay, so in production we do not directly hard code the email ID and the password, so for that we will use the .env file to store the app password and the user's email, and from that we can import. So for the time being we can simply write process.env.email, and here you can write process.env process.env.password. okay, so you have to create a env file, and inside that env file you need to supply the email and the password. This password is actually the app password which you have generated from your Gmail account. okay, now once that is done, our transporter object is created. okay, now using this transporter object we will write the send mail functionality. okay, so let's write the send mail functionality. okay, so let's go. okay, so my send mail will be const send mail is the send verification mail. okay, it will be async. okay, and then request response. Do we need request response? No, we don't need request response. okay, now here it will be an arrow function. okay, so send verification email will actually send the verification email to the particular email ID. So how it will obtain the email ID? So it will obtain the email ID as a parameter from this place. So email ID. okay, so next we have to write in try catch, because there is 100% or you can say 95% possibility of some error being occurred when we are sending or dealing with email. So it's better to wrap everything inside the try and catch block. Like for example, if the email supplied is wrong, that means the email does not exist. So that means we cannot send email. So that means there is some possibility of some error happening. So we need to wrap everything inside try and catch block. So send verification email inside the try and catch block. If you read out the documentation of NodeMailer, you have to create a transporter. So just write await transporter. okay, and this send mail. So this will actually send the mail to the particular email ID. Now inside this we have to write the data which we want to send. So to whom we want to send the email? We want to send the email to the email ID which we obtained as a parameter in this place as a parameter. So 2 is complete. Then the subject of the email which we write. So subject is email verification link from our backend. Okay, so you may give anything, just I'm writing it for the sake of understanding, so you may give anything. Next, inside that you can send as an HTML. So how will you send this HTML? So inside this HTML, I will want to create some or keep a link on clicking which the user's email will be verified. So let me quickly create a body. Okay, and inside this body I will write, just a minute. Yeah, linting is disturbing me these days. So verification link, you can style this as per your need. Okay, so just link to verify. Okay, so this link is not the link which I want for the time being. It will just stay over here. Fine. Now once this is done, it is giving me some sort of error. So let's see how we can solve this. Why it is yelling at me? Unterminated string literal. Okay, so view problem. It should not yell at me. So let's replace this with backticks. I hope it will work, because since we're using it in multi-line, it will throw some sort of error. Okay, the error is resolved finally. Finally, the error is resolved. So here we have to supply a link. So let's write a to-do over here, that we need to supply a link over here to validate the users. Okay. Now once this is done, our sending email is ready. The email template is ready and we can send the email perfectly. Okay. Now the next thing which we have to do is we need to design the login route. So also you can write a message over here that once the email is sent, you can just simply write log the email is sent successfully. Okay, and just return this function rest.status that email has been sent successfully. Okay, well enough, done. Now once this is done, we are returning the email, and if there is some sort of error, we can send rest.status cannot send email, and in the log also you can write simply the error, and you can simply write a message over here that error occurred in sending mail, or like that. Okay, so send verification mail, I will call this after creating the account of the user. So just call this function with the user's email. Now once this is done, my sign up function is complete, the transporter, everything, the verification mail is also complete. Fine. So the next thing which we want to write is the login route. So const login. Okay, so login is very simple. So it will use try and catch if there is some error. So just console.log error, log the error, error in login, and if there is no error, first it will find out whether the email ID exists. Okay, so for that, let's obtain the data first from the front end side. So const what is the thing, email and password we want to obtain from the request body, email and password from the request body. Then first find whether the email exists. Okay, so const email exists, sts. Okay, await user model dot find one email. Okay, now if email exists, then one thing, and if the email does not exist, then another thing. Else you can simply write log email does not exist or user does not exist, anything, and you can return with the status code, return dot res.status. Okay, that user does not exist. Now inside if the email exists, we need to check if the verification is done for that particular user. Okay, so if the email exists, then it will return me an user, because it is finding the user model dot verification status. Okay, now if this is equal to true, that means the user is verified. Then it will check whether the password is matching with that particular user's mail or not. So const password match equal to await user model dot find one and email password. Okay, so if the password is matching, then it will print login successful. If the password is not matching, then it will say that login is not successfully done. You have to supply a new password because that password is wrong. Okay, fine. So what is this find one function is doing? This find one function is finding an email which has this associated password. If that's matching, then it will return true and it will be successfully logged in. If that is not, it is false. Fine. So this was the login route which we have defined. Okay, now we have to export this. So export login and sign up. Now we need to define another thing, which is the verification of the user. So const verify user. So this will take the user's mail ID from the parameter. Okay, so const email. Okay, now this time not from the request.button, this time from the request.query. So from the request.query, we need to find out the user's email. Okay, so once that is obtained, we have to check if the email exists in our database. If the email exists, then turn the email exists verification status to true. That means the user is verified. And if it's already true, that means user is already verified, then do nothing, just return that user is verified. Okay, now once that is done, we will save everything. We will save everything using this email.exist.save. Now once that is done, we will also export this. So let's export this. Fine. So we have our login route, sign up route, and verify user route created. Now one thing you have to click over here, that in this to do place, you need to write over here one link, which is http:// this is the verify, and inside this we need to supply our email address. So email, so you need to write over here inside this place. You need to frame the email as a query. So user email verify, then a query message, email equal to, then the email ID of the particular user. We need to check this. Okay, we need to check this once we push the thing to production. Okay, so once this is done, we have our login route, send verification mail, and everything created. Okay, that's fine. So our controller is complete now. So we will now write the routes. So routes is quite easy. So we'll write user.routes.js. Now once this is done, we write import mongoose from mongoose. I'm sorry, we don't need mongoose. We need to write import the express router. Import router from express, and we have to create a router. Const router equal to router. Okay, then we have to import the sign up, login, and the verify user from the controller.js. Okay, so the next thing first is the router.post. Okay, router.route, then on hitting the sign up route, it will send a post request. Since we are sending everything by a body and we are sending data, so it will be a post request. Post, then the sign up function will be called. Okay, followed by that router.route. If it's login, it is posting some data to the login, that is the username and the password, so it will be a post request. Last, it is a get request, which will verify the user's email ID. Okay, and at last we will export the router. So our router file is only up to this much. If there is any changes to be made, we will make meanwhile. Okay, so our router is complete, model is complete, controller is complete. The last thing it is and the app.js. So inside the app.js, we have to import express from express. Okay, So we have imported the Express from the Express, and we have to check the documentation of the .env since we are using the environment variables over here. So let's Google up the documentation of .env from here. So .env. Okay, so .env npm. Okay, this is where we want to go. So from here you have to come down over here and we have to import .env/config. Okay, so .env.config/config. Okay, so we have to create an app from Express. So let's go to VS Code and we have to create an app from Express. Const app equal to Express, then app dot use. We have to write the middlewares, that express.json. That means every request that comes is in the form of JavaScript object notation JSON. Okay, app.use URL express.url encoded to true. That means yes, we are sending some sort of data through the URL because the query we are already sending that the email ID for verifications purpose. Okay, then we have to write the routes. So app.use, then for versioning purpose we write it in this way, that API/v1, that is version 1/user, and then the user router. Now we have to import the user router in this way. So import user router from, and from here user.routes.js. I hope we are exporting it in the proper way. Yeah, we are exporting it in the proper way. Okay, so once this is done, let's come back. So the user router is done, so we will export the app, export default app. So I hope we are good to go this time. Let's check. Now here, if you want, you can write a default /route to check whether the API is working properly or not. So for that, simply write a get route, that app.get, and if it is a slash, then we can send the address.send home page. The app is working. Okay, just a typo, working fine. Okay, so once that is done, we have exported the Express app. Now from the index.js, what we have to do, we have to connect the database first with the MongoDB URI. Then we have to import this app and we have to listen it on a specific port. Okay, so for that, let's go. And we don't need it over here. We need this in the index.js space. Okay, import .env, import mongoose, because we are going to connect the database, and also import app from app.js. Okay, now we need to write a function, const connect db. Now this function will allow us to connect to the db first. So it will be async and await because the database is in different continent, and so for the ease, and there is some time lag in connecting to the database, so we need to use async and await in every case. And since we are using a database, there needs to be a try and catch block because there is always some sort of error that which may happen, right? So try and catch, remove right over here console.err. Error happened in connecting to database if there is some sort of error. Otherwise it will be await mongoose dot connect, and then you have to supply the MongoDB URI. So from where you have to obtain the MongoDB URI? From the process.env. We already done this in the backend development course, right? So once that is done, you can write console.log database connected successfully. Now once the database is connected successfully, it is only then the app will listen on a specific port. So for that, once this is done, so we'll write app.listen and on a specific port, and where it will obtain the port from the env file. So the port number is also should be present in the env file. So once this is done, we have to call the connectdb. Okay, fine. So our database is done, so the backend is ready. Now what we have to do, one important thing is we have to write the env file. So env file. Now at this place I will blur out some places because of some confidentiality and my API keys. So you have to obtain this on your own, and you have to manage and sort out this place. So I will blur out, and from the GitHub also I will remove these things. Okay, so what are the things you are needing from the env file? The MongoDB URI, the port number, so you have to supply it one by one. Port number, so port number, anything you can suggest, let us be 3000, and then followed by that, but make sure 3000 is free. Whichever port number you are using, it should be free. Now once that is done, what are the other things we need? URI, port number is done. In the app.js, do we need anything? No, we don't need. Now one important thing which we need, or which we are going to need over here, is this is in this place, which is the email and the app password. So we have to supply the email over here, and the app password, which is password. So you have to fill it out on your own, and I will have to blur out this place because I cannot show you this place. So let me find out the details and fill it up one by one. So let's pause this for the time being, and let me find out the details, and let's put it one by one. So that's fine, we have filled up the details. So I have blurred out few places, so I hope you understand the reason why I have blurred out. So once this is done, it's time that we test the application. So it's normal, it's possible, it's 100% that we will get some sort of error, and we'll also see how we can resolve those error. Okay, so for testing this API, I will use Postman. So let's go to Postman, and let's first start the app. So the start script which we have defined is npm start. So let's see what errors do we get. So up to now we have not got any sort of error. It says that database is connected successfully and the server is up and running properly at port 3000. Okay, that means that 3000 should give me some sort of response. So new HTTP request. So let's put it here, and it is running on localhost 3000 http://localhost, just a minute, localhost, come on, 3000. So let's send this and let's see. Yeah, the homepage, the app is working fine. We are getting the response that yes, the server is working fine. And let's see if there is an error in the console. No error, fine. Now the first thing which we have to do is we have to hit the sign up, that is the sign up controller. So for that, it is /signup. Okay, and it is a post request. Well enough. So /signup, it is a post request. In the body we will send a raw data in form of a JSON. So let's change it to JSON. So what are the things we are sending? It is name. Let the name be my name, Siddhartha Mukherjee. Followed by that, the password. Okay. A password can be anything between 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. This is absolutely a bogus password. It's not recommended. Okay, name, password, username be Siddhartha, Siddhartha.com. Okay, the next thing is the phone number. It is phone number, I guess. Let's copy paste stuff from here. Phone. Okay, phone. So what is my phone? It is +91 space say 1 2 3 5 6 7 8 9 0. Okay, so this is not my number, this is fictitious. Okay, don't call me now. So name, phone, password, username, the last thing is email. email. So let me write my email. So this has to be the real email ID. Okay, so I will blur out this place. gmail.com. So remember to give a real email ID because this is the place where the email will be triggered by the node mailer. Fine. So this is fine, I guess. Siddhartha Mukherjee. Yeah, this is fine and we are good to go. Let's send this and let's see what we are getting. Okay, so let's send this first. So name 1 2 3 4 5. So 5 things which we are sending, I guess. 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, let's send this and let's see if we are getting any error. So we have sent it and I hope the app crashed. No, the app didn't crash and it also has not sent any response. Yeah, it's saying that cannot post sign up. Okay, that means there is some sort of error in the routes. Let's see. So the sign up route is working, I guess. Post sign up. Okay. It should work. Come on. Okay, sending request. It cannot send the request. Not found. Okay, we have written it in a wrong way, so it will be /API/v1/signup. My fault. So now it should work. So it's again showing the same sort of error. Okay, we have a user over here. So these things you have to remember. Okay, API/v1/user/signup. Let's send this now. So once we are sending, it sends that socket hang up. We cannot send the request. Okay, let's see the error. Okay, we are getting a lot of error over here. So it's saying that user creation is successful, verification status is false, error in sending email, missing credentials for plain. Okay, cannot send email, some sort of error in the mailing part. So let's try and resolve this. Okay, so to debug this, let's write some console messages so that it's easier for us to track the changes which are happening once we trigger the function. So for this, let's come back to the send verification email and let's write a log message here that we are sending email to, and then the email ID. Okay, so once this is done, subject is there, verification email ID is there. Okay, we cannot send a res over here because there is no request response in this case. So we can simply write over here return return true. That means email has been sent successfully. Now once this is not done, so we can simply write return false. Okay, so const email sent. So this place we will fetch whether the email has been sent successfully or not. So if email sent is true, then we can say that yeah, user creation is successful, user is created successfully, else we can send cannot create user's account, some sort of error in sending mail. User creation is successful and email is sent. Okay, and if it is not done, and email not sent, because in this place you are anyhow creating the user first and not verifying it, right? So let's now trigger the thing and let's check what problem we are getting. So let's send. Just a minute. So let's send the request. So we are sending it. User creation is successful and email has been sent. That means our error is resolved, I guess, somehow. And if we check the mail or check the console, Okay, there is some error which is saying that error in sending email, that unexpected socket close. Okay, so we have to debug this. So let's see how we can debug this. Okay, so I had to spend a lot of time in finding out the error, but ultimately I found out that it was a error in the typo, and it was my mistake in writing the code in a wrong way. So I referred the documentation and came out with a minor mistake that the pass which we are using over here, password, this should be pass. This was the only mistake which we were making for such a long time, and it took me hours in figuring out. So rest of the things are pretty fine. I hope this should work now, but there is one thing which is logically incorrect. That is, in this place, email sent equal to send verification email. Now, since the sending of the email takes some time, so it's advisable and it's compulsory that we use await in this case. And it is only when the email is sent, and if the email is sent successfully, it can show us that the user has been created successfully and email is sent. If it is not, that user is created successfully but email has not been sent. So we are not printing anything over here. So once the user is created, the user will be done. And if we cannot create the user account and email is not sent, then it will throw some sort of error. Okay. Now I hope this should work now properly, and let's check rest of the few things. Okay, so let's run it and let's check whether the things are working fine or not. So let's go to Postman. Okay, so here we are again, and okay, so the data is intact. Okay, let's clear out everything. I hope that we cannot clear it. Okay, we cannot clear it. So let's send the email request. So it is sending the requests, and let's wait for some time. It's saying that user creation is successful and email is sent. Let's see the log. It says that email is sent successfully. That means that we have successfully triggered the email. And if we go to the inbox of my mail, okay, I will tell the editor to blur out the places. So let's go to my email and let's show you how the email actually looks like. Okay, so this is the mail that you receive, that the subject which we have made. You can see that everything is intact, and the message which we have written, and the click here to do add repolling, which we have to remove indeed. So if you click here, it will open up this page. It is saying that cannot get verify. Okay, so it will be API/user/verify. So we need to correct this and we need to check again. Okay, so let's resolve this now. So let's come back here. Let's come back to the user controller, and it will be localhost 3000/API/v1/user/verify. I hope that's the route. Yep. So yeah, that's the route, and it should work fine now. Verify email equal to email ID. Click here, and this thing which we have to remove to do add verification link. Okay, so let's trigger it again, and let's remove the MongoDB input which is created over here. Let's remove this. Yep. So let's send this again, and let's see whether this time it's working. The verification part is working or not. The email part is working, which we have sent. We have seen just now. And let's see now whether the verification part is working properly or not. So let's send the email now. Send. So it will take some time for the email to be sent, and let's check the log. So it's saying that email has been sent successfully. So let's refresh the email, and let's go to the email place. Let me bring up the place of the email where the email has come. Yeah, so this time the email has come properly, I guess. Let me show you. So this is the link which we have received, and let's click here and let's check whether we have verified the things properly or not. So let's click over here, and says that yes, the user is now verified. That means user has been verified and the user can now log into the system. So let's check whether the user can log in. This mail ID, with this mail ID the user has to log in. Now we can also check whether there is any log that yes, user is verified. So we see the log here. Fine. So let's now try to log in with the same email ID and password. So let's come to Postman. I hope things are coming. Yep. So let's change this to now login. Okay, and we will only keep the email and the password. Email and the password, and we will remove everything. We don't need anything, right? Because in the controller we are logging in with the email and the password from the request body. Fine. So let's send this, and it's showing some sort of error, I guess. Let's see. Login is successful. Now if you want to send the user some data about him, so once you are saying login is successful, you can also send the user details. That is the user details, that the data of the user, everything. So the server has to restart. I hope it has done. Yeah, it has done automatically. Now once you send this again, just a minute, it should work. Why it's hanging? It's showing login is successful, but we are not seeing any message. Yeah, it's saying that, yeah, login is successful, user is this, his mail ID is this, password is this, verification is true because we have verified it through the email. So that's how you implement the login systems in this. So that's all in this video. I have shown you how can we create a complete authentication system for user, where we are creating a user account, we are sending a verification link to verify his email address, and only after the verification we are allowing the user to log in. So everything, the code and all the stuffs, you can find it in the GitHub. All this repository I'm going to push in the GitHub repository, and the link I will provide in the description box below. So that's all in the video, guys. I hope you have liked the video. So thanks for watching and supporting me in the backend series. So this was another project of the backend series. Soon we will figure out and come up with some new series this winter. So thanks for supporting. Hit that subscribe and bell icon, and if you have appreciate my efforts, put that like button, because it really motivates me to bring further contents. So thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.